Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to join you today for the Aging Experts. We have a friend of ours on, Miss Sandra K Lynch, and she is going to talk about how you pivot and some of the things that can happen in your life that cause you to spin around a little bit. So, I'm Carol Henderson. I have Life by Design, and I'm here with my wonderful co host, Miss Barbara Ellison from the Wellness Playroom. So
Mhm.
welcome,
Everybody.
welcome, welcome.
Yep.
Welcome. And thank you for
Hi,
having me here.
Sandy.
Hey, Barb. Hey, Carol. Thank you for having me here. And so pivoting, huh?
Well, Sandy and Barbara and I have all been in a mastermind together for 5, 6
Yep.
years. I mean, I don't remember when it started.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
I
been
don't
it's been
either.
a while. It's been
It's
years.
been a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
it way before the shutdown. So
Was it? Was it before the shutdown?
yeah, it was way before the shutdown.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Wow.
It just seems like just a day or two, but
I
anyway,
know.
if we
Time is
kind of
flying.
bunny trail and stuff, it's because we know each other pretty well.
Yes.
And then we like to bunny trail anyway.
And we go down the bunny hole. Sometimes.
Occasionally. So,
Yes.
okay. Well, Sandra, kind of tell us, or Sandy, it's hard to call you Sandra. Sandy,
I
tell
know.
us a little bit about where you started, what caused you to pivot, where you are now, and what's happening in your life.
Oh my goodness, where do we start? Okay, let's see. That was a different question than what you asked me this morning on
Oh, okay, what did I ask you this morning?
Now, sis, if you don't remember, how you expect me to remember?
Well, no, I thought that was the same thing, Barbara. I mean, is there a
Yeah, it was
difference?
about how you're pivoting,
Yeah, it's
how what's
yeah.
happened in your life has
Well,
caused you
I've
to have to
overcome
pivot.
quite a bit. That's one of the things
Right.
I've
That's what we
overcome.
want to hear. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
kind of more mostly like your backstory.
Oh, my goodness. We've got so many chapters in the backstory.
Well, you can start in whatever chapter you want, whatever
Where
chapter
Okay.
you're comfortable with.
One of the things I think it was, you asked me, how do I survive? Number one, I said it's
yes,
through
that
faith.
too. And that was that too.
That number one is my faith in God. Because I have gone through a mess in life. I mean, I have actually been convicted of being a federal felon, having fought that for almost 10 years, saying I wasn't, that I'm not. But the court system is not kind to people with skin color like this sometimes. And I ended up in a federal prison. I was in there for a short period, but there was a good purpose for it. I came out healthier than I went in, which is unusual. I was intent on not dying, yet I had a friend that went in at the same time. This was the case that they convicted. I think they indicted about 50 to 70 people at one time on this one case.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was only there. I was an innocent bystander. But what happened was when the facility was raided. I am an African American, and I was in a building working with people that were Hispanics and kids that were younger than me. I mean, much younger. And so I was brought up in the 60s and the 70s. When feds come in, you ask to see their search warrant. And so I asked to see their search warrant, and they labeled me a troublemaker. In fact, at my trial.
That would be the first thing I would say.
I know, but you can't do that if you know what they. In fact, that's what was in my transcript, because when I went to court, because I fought it, I honestly believe I'm innocent. I ended up being charged aiding and abetting, and as soon as somebody can tell me what I aided and abetted in doing, I'll feel really good about it. Please, I still haven't figured that out. But no, at the trial, that's one of the things they brought up, about me asking to see the search warrant. So they labeled me a troublemaker. Wow. But God had a purpose. Genesis, Joseph in the Bible, he said, he told his brothers, you might have meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. And I went there. I was overweight, and there, if you eat the food that they have, you'll come out even bigger, because they give you honey buns and stuff for breakfast and all of that. And I was intent I wasn't going to come out, and I ended up walking, and I came out 70 pounds lighter than what I went in. And I learned to walk, and I still walk to this day. And so that was one of the things. So overcoming the title now of being a federal felon can be a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that the people that know me know that I'm not a federal felon. They know my character, and I'm thankful for God for that. And so it's starting over. Then being old, I'm 72. I went to work at McDonald's, and I think I lasted about 2 weeks. I still can go back, but it's learning the cash register and everything. It's just, I might do it if I have to, but I'm going to go on what God taught me how to do, and that's based on 2 Kings 4:1-7. The 8 principles, I call it the 8 principles for individual economic recovery. And that's the story of the widow woman whose husband had died and left her in debt.
Mhm.
And he and I have had challenges, and he's forcing me to go out there and do it and practice it. So it's the 8 principles are number 1. The widow woman had the problem because her husband had died and left her in debt. And the creditor was coming to take her 2 children to enslave them. And when I read that, I thought, that sounds almost like today's time. Household, single-head household, having debt and what to settle. So I learned from that, the lesson from that one line is to get a business coach, or have a why, rather. Have your why. What is your why?
Mhm. Well, and if
So,
your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough.
well, she was crying. But stop and think about this. The word teaches that Elijah was a prophet, prophet,
Uh-huh.
and a business coach is about profit, profit.
Love that.
Right.
It's such a good analogy, Sandy,
It
that-
is.
because it's absolutely the truth.
Yeah. Well, then the second
Anything that
thing
we're
is,
doing.
so she had her why. Then the second thing is she got a coach. Then the third thing is, this is what's cool. The Elisha asked her, what is it that you have?
Right.
And the widow woman said, I have nothing. Well, I've got a little oil. And when I'm writing all of this out, I said, God, why did she say she had nothing? And he said, well, she's been giving it away. And I go, ooh, that stepped on my toe.
Yes.
So many of us have something that's good and that we do, and we give it away.
Mhm.
Then the next thing is, this goes to show that Elijah was a business coach. He says, go borrow many vessels, not a few, but many, from your neighbors. Do you realize that's the very first crowdfunding campaign? Stop and think about that. That was 860 BC. That means before Christ, not before computers, but before Christ.
Yes. And I've never thought of it that way until
I
you
haven't either. Say that again. It was the very first.
mentioned that.
Crowdfunding campaign. That was 860 BC. That's before Christ, not before computers, but it still works the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he told her to go out and borrow from other people. That
But
and for me, that how I take that is borrow their expertise.
well, he borrowed the vessels.
Or that
Right.
whatever that
Right.
vessel is.
Venture
But the
capital.
vessels, but this thing
Venture
is, yeah,
capitals.
it was the vessels, it's the seed money to start the business.
Right. Right.
Okay, so because that's what she had to do. And then he said, take those vessels, take them into the house, close the door behind you, and have your sons hand vessels to you until there's no more oil. Now, stop and think about that. That's a business plan.
Yeah, it is.
And by the way, it's the first home-based business model.
Right.
remember today you said that God has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's look
And
so
he
far.
always has a way out
He does. But
if
stop
you
and look at,
ask.
yes. And that's what, okay. So first thing is have your why. Number 2, get a business coach. Number 3, what is your self inventory? Number 4, get your seed money, get your crowdfunding going together. 5, have a business plan. 6, community and family involvement. Okay. 7, she was coachable.
Yeah. Mhm.
Are you coachable?
Right.
That's true. There are so many people that have so much potential, but they think they need to reinvent the wheel. And they think that they can know better than their coaches or know better than, I mean, home business companies, many of them have good training. Some have great training. They have
Mhm.
a plan. They have tools in it automatically in your tool belt. They can actually, I won't say guarantee a massive income or a quick income, but if you put in the work and you follow the business plan, you will be successful with
Right.
those companies, especially if
Remember,
the why is in place.
Right.
So,
remember that.
And
Remember,
I think one
all
of
of
the
this was done in 860 BC,
right.
and where we're at today. So go
yeah,
ahead, Deborah.
And she did not say, "Oh, I can't do that."
No.
right, right. I
How
don't want to ask my
often
neighbors.
I don't want to ask my neighbors, "Oh, well, what are they going to think of me if I ask them?"
Oh, yeah.
All of those limiting beliefs that now I hear so often, and I hear them in my own head too. I'm here. We're talking to all of us here. We all hear them in our own head.
We're pretty real and raw here, Sandy.
Pretty real
Aren't
and
we
raw.
though? But remember, I said there's 8 principles.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
then
keep
the
going,
next
keep
one,
So
going.
because we've got
that's
the 7.
absolutely awesome.
So she did exactly what was told. She goes back to Elijah and he says, now what am I doing? He says, go sell them and you'll have sufficient to settle your debt and live off for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
She had to know her numbers. Do you know your business numbers? So I said, God, what am I supposed to do with all this story? It's a nice little story because, you know, in speech writing and public and stage talking on the stage, they said, you've got to have a point. So what's my point? Well, I am a numbers person. I teach people to read, write, speak, and understand their business money numbers. He says, that's what your mission is. But I have to start the story or my speech, my lesson, my workshop with this story. Because no matter what I say, ladies, what do you remember about this entire thing I've talked about so far? What did you get out of this message of the 8 principles for individual economic recovery?
That they're simple and that they're easy to do. It's just a matter of doing it.
Does it seem like it's anything different than what we've been told to do today?
Today, exactly.
And yeah, it was done 860 BC, before computers.
Well, and what's easy to do is always also easy not to do. I love the book, The Slight Edge by Ellison, because he talks about that. It is, you know, if you do the slight edge, just that little bit every day, you're going to go up and eventually it'll hit the hockey stick. If you don't, you're going to go down.
Right. Yeah. And it can be one little thing. Like today, Carol said to me, she said, well, Barbara, do a story. Do it. And I was like, oh, really? I don't, I'm not, I can't do that.
Facebook story.
A Facebook story. And she said, Barbara, just go do it. This is what you're going to say. And this is what you're going to do.
And then I had to leave, get off the phone. I couldn't walk her through it.
So, but you know what? I did do it. And then I figured out how to also not only have it as a story, but also to share it as a reel.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I was quite pleased with myself. I mean, and that was part of my outreach today because we have committed, we're in a group that we are committed to a certain amount of outreach every day to get your message out there. And so I was really quite pleased with myself that I not only, and I said to her, I said to Carol, I said, this is part of my outreach, right? And it was true. And so now it's going to be fun to go back and see where the reel went, because to tell you the truth, I have no idea where I think the reel went out on Instagram. I don't know.
Instagram or Facebook?
I don't know. All I know is it said I could make a reel. So I clicked on the button to make a reel and out it went. I have no idea where.
Now, is that the information that was in our little group that today
And
about how to
maybe
make a reel with
how to do a reel? I was like, okay.
and that's using chat the chat, and it will do 100.
No, that was not even that. It was on Facebook. I don't know, but all it said was that, do you want to make this story into a reel?
And you did,
And I went, okay.
Wow.
And so now I've got to figure out how to go back and find it, that now that it's also a reel.
I'm looking. I'm looking right
Oh,
now.
yeah. Look.
Now, ladies, with us being over 50, okay.
Yeah. But don't be barely over 50 now.
Oh yeah, barely.
Yeah. Who says I'm over 50? What are you saying?
And besides that, 70 is the new 50.
Okay.
Okay,
then we're fine with that. Don't you find it interesting that some people that know how to work on this technology, and then when we talk to these youngsters, say asking how do you do it, and they're sitting there, you know how to do that?
But yes, right. Yeah.
They're surprised that we know how to do it. I mean, I was actually in the store one time doing something like that, and the guy said, you know how to do that? You know, transferring money from one account. Can you go teach my grandmother how to do that?
Exactly. So one of the things that I signed up for today is how to be more effective using social media.
Okay.
I'm just so excited to go to start it.
Yeah.
To just see how, because I do use social media, but how to do it really effectively, because now the tools out there are so much.
Yes.
To make it easier and that kind of stuff. But to have a system, and he talks about it, and the guy, and I'll give him a plug, Fraser Brooks.
Okay.
And he has great systems.
And
if you're gonna grow, you've got to have systems.
Yeah, that's true.
So I figured I'm going to learn his system of doing content, where to do it, when to do it, how to do it.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I want to get my word out there.
Exactly.
Teaching people how to understand their business numbers, because as a seasoned professional bookkeeper, many business owners don't understand the language of money.
Exactly.
Well, and many of them don't feel like they can afford a bookkeeper. And yet, you know, one of the things in Jewish society, they really feel like that, like for me, that I should, you know, work with Sandy for my bookkeeping, work with Barbara for my social media, and pay. They look at those dollar bills. That what that is you did a good job. You did a good job. Thank you for doing that for me. Here is a gift, for lack of a better term. But so often, especially small businesses in America, we try to do it all.
Right.
We try to do it all. And that's why I learned graphic arts. That's why I learned printing out, because when I had my modeling agency, there were not extra dollars to spend somebody $75 to $100 an hour to build comp cards and things like that. And I had somebody that was very gifted at it that helped me to learn it. And so I was able to do it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But, you know, when somebody's charging you $75 to, dollars an hour or up, which and this was back then, this was in the 80s and 90s. So that's
a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it was a lot of money back then. And I could
still a lot of money now.
It's true. It is. But things weren't quite as crazy as they are now. And so I had to do that. But there was one of the agents that actually brought everything in-house, and they did everything in-house. But they did it and made money from it.
Right.
So,
well, that I'm a Fiverr fiend, you know that.
I know. You are the Fiverr queen, okay? The Fiverr queen of all time.
But there's also some good things about using Fiverr.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm into relationship development.
Yes.
So I learn the different cultures. One of the very first cultures I was introduced to was people in India. And in fact, it came going into Fiverr. I was of the kind that everything had to be American. I just really did. And I just didn't want to send my money overseas. And after wasting money here in the United States, and I mean wasting because people wouldn't deliver what they said they would deliver.
Or couldn't deliver what they said they could deliver.
A friend said, let's go overseas. And I go, oh my goodness, I'm scared. And I'll never forget what happened. This guy on I think it was a Thursday or Friday, and I had everything worked out, what I needed. I just needed the technology to do it. And he says, okay, I'll have it ready for you on Monday. And I go, yeah. And I've been waiting 2 weeks and everything. And when he delivered, talking about apologies, fuming, asking for forgiveness for not trusting people, and then confessing to myself, Lord, help me to get over my prejudices. Yes. Because I didn't want to go overseas. And since then, it has opened up my mind, my people, my friends. I have Fivers that I work with that's in Pakistan, Bangladesh.
But you have one friend that watches all of our shows.
Oh, Riyadh.
Yes, he does. He's always commenting. So,
oh, listen,
shout out to Riyadh.
Hey, Riyadh. Listen, Riyadh, you know what I do with Riyadh, right? Riyadh is so cool. I said, if he was 70 years old or older, a born-again Christian, and single, it would be all over.
And now he's not any of those.
I know he's not.
Okay. Well, listen, Sandy, this has been fun. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they want to know about their numbers. And I think you have some things that you often give to people when they reach out to you that they can kind of get their
well, right now, this is really, really interesting. It's called SOFI, SOFI. They really have to get onto my Facebook page, or I'll share it with you ladies, because there's a referral link. Now, what they do is put $50 in their bank account, the SOFI bank account. And when they do, they'll get $25, so they'll have $75 in the bank account. Plus, they'll get a referral link. Now, they take that referral link and give it to their family and friends. They'll get $75 for each one that says that. So with 133 people doing that, they'll have $10,000.
Wow.
What a great way to do seed money. Remember I said family and friends?
Yeah.
If you stop and think about it, that's a great crowdfunding. What could you do with $10,000 in your bank account today?
Yeah. That's a good idea. Okay. So how do people get a hold of you, Sandy?
Well, let's see. You didn't tell me to have that ready, so I can even share that too. Sorry. I'm at Sandra K Lynch, and somebody's been, what do they call it when they
spamming?
Yeah. Oh, ladies, we're gonna have to put it. I'll give it to you in the link, and then when you post it, we can do that.
We can put it in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll give you the
referral. Okay.
Yeah, so that they can do that, and then we'll be connected.
Cool.
And I really appreciate it. This is almost like the morning that when we get together on Monday mornings and Friday mornings, isn't it, ladies?
Yeah, it's just a fun time. It's a fun time. So anyway, thank you so much, Sandy. I think you brought a lot of good energy to our clients and stuff.
I love your story, your 8 principles. That is huge.
It is. It's great. It's great. And so if you're watching on YouTube, remember you need to click like and share. Please share it out to your friends. And if you're on YouTube, I said Facebook, if you're on YouTube, click the little thumbs up because that changes the algorithms. Subscribe and ring the little bell, because that way when we put something up, you'll get notice that it's going live, because I try to put everything up as a premiere. So anyway, thank y'all so much. I
you,
appreciate you
Carol.
coming today.
Bye, everybody. Have a
I'm gonna
great
have
time.
I'm gonna have Riyadh cut that clip out.